Well, hello BookTube. It's Justin here at This Just In, and I'm here to bring you another tag. This tag's been making the rounds a bit, and I was tagged on this one by David Wiley. Thank you very much, David, for tagging me on the JFK tag. This is sure to be controversial. The JFK tag was created by a booktuber that I had not heard of, a very literary Carrie, who I, of course, subscribe to now. New channel to me, but I look forward to seeing more of her stuff, and she created this very interesting tag. Let's get right into it, as they say. All right, prompt number 1. Tenuvus and one more. Rose and Joe Sr. had a boat called Tenuvus to signify the 10 members of the Kennedy clan. With the birth of Ted, the family named another boat One More. What book with a large cast of characters would you recommend? Well, my mind landed on one right away, and I tried to think of others because I felt sure somebody was going to mention this, and I didn't. So I wanted to try to be unique, but this is what came to mind, and I stuck with it. George R. R. Martin's series, A Song of Ice and Fire, the unfinished, as of yet unfinished, and will probably remain unfinished series. This, of course, is the fantasy series, high fantasy series that features several families and several types of conflict with each other, with a countless cast of characters. I love the series. I've read it twice, and I love the world building. I love the action and the twists and turns and the unpredictable events that occur, tragic events that occur in this series of novels. So this is my pick for the Tenuvus and One More prompt. All right, on to our next one. PT 109. What is your favorite book featuring a harrowing survival, rescue, or war story? It took me to thought about this a little bit. I think this one, this is what came to my mind. Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. This is the story, the account of a 1996 Mount Everest expedition in which 8 people died when a blizzard hit the summit at Mount Everest. Jon Krakauer was in that expedition. This is a first-hand account. This is a riveting book, tragic, fascinating story. And the illustrated edition is the way to go. It's got a lot of great pictures in it, as you know, being the illustrated edition that it is. There's a lot of great pictures in this book. Here's a picture of some climbers at the Hillary Step. I don't know what happened to those people. It's been a while since I've read this, but this is a great book. I highly recommend this one. Okay, let's see. Third prompt. Addison's Disease. What is your favorite book that deals with disease or the medical field? I can't recall having read much in the way of medical books, but considering the times we're in now and the pandemic we're going through, The Stand by Stephen King came to my mind. Of course, we're probably all familiar with The Stand, the post-apocalyptic tale of an influenza strain that is developed by the U.S. Department of Defense and accidentally released and devastating almost the entire population of the United States. And then a surviving cast of characters, which this maybe also could have fallen under our first prompt. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite of the rampant disease post-apocalyptic novels. Okay, prompt number 4, Camelot. What real or imagined dynasty would you like to read more about? Good question. Can't say that I've thought much about dynasties and had much of an interest in them, but after looking around a little bit, I think I might be interested in the Japanese monarchy that has been around since Emperor Jummu in 660 BC. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, but there have been 126 emperors, all from the same family line in Japan. That's pretty interesting. I find that interesting. I would like to read more about that. If any history buffs, any Japanese history buffs have any suggestions as far as any books that I could read to fill me in more on the history of this incredible monarchy, that would be great. Please let me know in the comments below, as they say. Okay, number 5, High Hopes. Frank Sinatra re-recorded this song for Kennedy's 1960 presidential campaign. If you ran for office, What would your campaign song be? I can't really say that there are a lot of songs that I like that kind of hit that, you know, campaign, hooray for me, vote for me vibe. But, you know, every time when I think of like a personal theme, maybe I just have to go with this. Iggy Pop's Lust for Life. I really think that would be an interesting campaign song. It would probably have to be re-recorded based on some of the lyrics, but maybe not. Maybe it'll just slip over people's heads. Anyway, Iggy Pop, Lust for Life. If I thought I wouldn't get my video taken down, I'd stick it in right here somewhere. But there you go. All right. Coconut. The coconut shell JFK carved a rescue message on during the PT-109 incident was encased in plastic and used as a paperweight in the Oval Office. Do you have any neat desk items or mementos? I don't have anything quite as interesting as that. A couple things. I do have my very cool Cthulhu Funko Pop figure. I like this guy quite a bit. And my mug, my Black Mesa Research Facility mug. This is, of course, a replica, I guess, of mugs that you might have found in the Half-Life game. A game I very much like, and I very much like to drink from this mug. Oh, that's tasty. I'm not going to tell you what that is, though. I'll let all you conspiracy theorists try and sort that one out. But actually, what is most treasured of my desk mementos is this little guy that was drawn and cut out by my my eldest son. This is, I don't know how old he was when he drew this, 4. And I took it, taped it up to my monitor at work, and it's been with me ever since. A couple of different jobs, and now it's here at home. It's a little water damaged, but you know, I'm still holding on to this guy. I like this little guy a lot. He's my favorite. Okay, scandal. What personal or political scandal would you like to read more about? Well, I work in the IT field, and you might think that we're all a bunch of uninteresting nerds who could not possibly get into any kind of trouble, but you would be wrong. There are plenty of scandals to be found in the IT industry. You know, I can think of the Foxconn suicides where at the industrial park in China, at the manufacturing plant, where conditions were so bad and pay was so poor that people were committing suicide, and they had to they forced people to sign no suicide pledges, and nets were installed around the buildings at this plant. That's an interesting little scandal. There's Aaron Schwartz, a computer programmer and copyright activist who performed a data exfiltration of academic journals from MIT, was caught and arrested and facing a large number of felony charges that were overreaching, facing 50 years, possible 50 years in prison and a $1 million fine. He ended up committing suicide as a result. That's an interesting little scandal. And of course, there are countless data breaches that we could talk about. You know, the 3 billion Yahoo user accounts that were breached, the Cambridge Analytica data mining, and then perhaps the biggest technological scandal of all, of course, Edward Snowden and his whistleblowing on the NSA and their surveillance of U.S. citizens. And that's a pretty fascinating story as well. There are a couple of books that I think I might pick up as a result. His autobiography, which is called Permanent Record, in which he talks about the hows and the whys of what he did. And then there's No Place to Hide by Glenn Greenwald. He's the Guardian journalist that helped Snowden, or that Snowden reached out to and released the information. So that is our scandal. Okay, number 9, Peace Corps. What book made you a better person? Well, when I started thinking about this prompt, my mind changed the question a little bit from what book made you a better person to what book changed your life. I'm not sure if my answer, I'll say I like to think that this answer fits both of those questions. So I'll take a chance on that here. Carl Sagan's Demon Haunted World It certainly changed my life. I would like to think that it made me a better person. It at least helped me refine my approach to critical thinking and evaluating claims. In this book, Carl Sagan defines what he calls the Baloney detection toolkit, which is a way of evaluating new claims. It's very reassuring and comforting, not condescending at all. It was Carl Sagan, after all. And he reassures us that just because we might have fallen for some kind of false claim, a pseudoscientific or otherwise false claim, that doesn't make us bad or stupid, but rather that we just need to apply the right tools to come to the right answer. I like to think that the best way for me to lead my life is to believe things that are true, and not to believe things that are false. So we need to find ways to make sure that we're believing things that are true and not just believing things because they make us feel good or because somebody tells us that they're right, but rather that they're true. And critical thinking and the scientific method, I think, is probably some of the best ways that we have to evaluate these kinds of claims. And this is a great book to help you build that foundation. And I would highly recommend this book for anybody. So, Carl Sagan, Demon Haunted World. I need to reread this book, actually. It's been a little while since I've read it. I need to absorb this again. But on to our last prompt, 10, conspiracy. What are your thoughts on the Kennedy assassination? Boy, this feels like a trap. I'm going to fall right into it, though. I once believed in a conspiracy. I had read a couple of books, and I don't remember what they were. I'm sure if I saw the covers and was able to leaf through them, they might come back to me. And I also saw Oliver Stone's film, JFK, which is a brilliant film. It's masterfully edited, and no matter what you believe, it's quite a riveting, fascinating, incredible movie, which is very long but doesn't feel like it. But besides that, the more I thought and read about conspiracy theories in general, the less I started to believe in them, and I realized that the JFK assassination theories were no less fallible than any other conspiracy theories that I was starting to discredit. It's worth taking some time to go over some of the hallmarks or the flaws in conspiracy theorist thinking, and seeing which of them might apply to the JFK assassination conspiracies. One of the hallmarks of conspiracy theories is that there's never one, especially in this case, there's never one clearly defined conspiracy. There are numerous, especially with JFK. Who was it? CIA? LBJ? Castro? It was the mob? Shadow government? Was it George Bush? There are some people who believe that there was a conspiracy, but they have no specific conspiracy that they tie to, just that there had to have been a conspiracy. There's also a proportionality bias, which is this idea that a major event must have a major cause, whereas a major event such as the assassination of a president may have a simple cause, which is a single gunman assassinating him. There doesn't necessarily need to be an entire organization or body of people that have conspired to make this happen. It could just be one simple person. Conspiracy theorists will also go on what we call anomaly hunting, where they'll look for anything strange or unusual or out of place and latch onto that, and suddenly it takes on a larger meaning and claim that it points to some kind of a conspiracy when there may be a completely rational explanation for the so-called anomaly. One example in this case would be the man with the umbrella. There was a man sighted there holding an umbrella, even though it's a sunny day, no rain, he's holding an umbrella. And that has been pointed to as some sort of sign of the conspiracy, that the guy must be in on it, that he's holding the umbrella or has the umbrella out as some sort of a signal, or maybe he's hiding a weapon, or maybe even the weapon is the umbrella, or the umbrella is the weapon rather. Of course, the man with the umbrella later came forward, and the reason he had the umbrella was it was a form of protest, some sort of a protest against JFK's father, Joseph Kennedy, and his appeasement policies. So it's a much simpler explanation for this guy being there rather than him being part of this vast conspiracy. If we use Occam's razor, we can pretty much slice through that, and the thing that takes the least assumptions is that he is there for some other reason other than a large conspiracy, and that he's protesting something. It's kind of a strange protest, but that's what he was doing. Another example of this is the Oliver Stone back and to the left body movement of JFK as he's shot, where his body is moving towards the book depository and away from the grassy knoll as that fatal shot hits him. And of course, it seems to make sense that that's the direction the body's moving away from, and that something is pushing in that direction. But there could be other explanations for this, including the force of the bullet as it exits the body, actually being a part of that movement back, or the movement of the car as it's accelerating, or that the nervous system in the body is reacting and spasming in a way to make his body jerk in that direction. So I'm not saying that these are the explanations, but that these are other possibilities. And if we don't have more evidence for a shot coming from that direction, then that movement of his body doesn't necessarily point to the shot coming from that direction, if that makes sense. The other thing, another hallmark of conspiracy theories is a reliance on eyewitness testimony. Eyewitness testimony tends to be very unreliable. In a tragic situation like this, where there's lots of chaos, people can get very confused, and no matter how confident they are about what they've seen and heard, they can be mistaken. They can misinterpret what they've seen or heard. They can conflate what they've heard from other people with their own memories. Memories aren't a recording of what's happened or what you've seen. Memories are malleable and can change, and you can be just as confident that something's happened and it's actually been something completely different can have taken place. And so, witnesses who might say that they heard a shot coming from the grassy knoll, well, again, eyewitness testimony being what it is, in the confusion, they might have heard the shot coming from there, but there's just as many people, if not more, that may be saying the shot was actually coming from the book depository. Another aspect of conspiracy theories is that the cover-up is so grand and so successful, and yet the conspiracy theorists, of course, can see right through it, but there's never anybody that's come forward and confessed to, or there's no whistleblower pointing out the conspiracy. And we've had other conspiracies or other things that have attempted to be covered up that have come out, seen the light of day. Reagan's Iran-Contra scandal. Nixon certainly couldn't keep Watergate under wraps, and Clinton couldn't keep a single affair quiet for very long either. And yet, an assassination of a president planned and concocted by possibly hundreds of people, and yet all of them remain quiet, silent for decades. That seems to start to seem less and less likely. If there's no evidence of conspiracy, then there very likely isn't one. But I should probably stop there with all of that. I've said quite enough. I'm not sure how much of a hole I've dug myself in and how many people I might have put off. Because I know there are a lot of people that believe very passionately in conspiracy theories, particularly with JFK. But, even if we disagree, I think very highly of you, especially if you've watched this far, and I think very highly of you. Well, thank you very much for watching this far. I don't think I'm going to tag anybody on this one. It's made the rounds quite a bit, and boy, I'm not sure I would expect anybody to follow up my version of this tag with my long lecture here at the end. So I'm just going to leave it to anybody who sees this, who hasn't done it, and they decide they want to do it, and to maybe kick my ass when it comes to my ranting here about conspiracy theories, have at it. But I think this is time for me to sign out. Thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you later. Have a good night.
Goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.